Commence primary ignition.
Hey, this is Marty Matulis. I play Vane on The Mandalorian, and you're watching the virtual VCN Network.
Thank you, Marty. And howdy, Rebels. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
You may have noticed Ashley has transformed. It is an April Fool's prank of the greatest. We have a guest host in tonight. Ashley's actually not feeling great tonight, so Mike has jumped in and offered to cover the co-hosting duty. So welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks, Mark. Happy to be here. Hope Ashley feels better soon, but always glad to help out.
Yeah, thank you for jumping in. I know you're a big Rebels fan. You're always in the chat, so I knew you'd be watching. And now we're just like, you can't just watch. We'll make you host the show. That'll be you next week, Sarah. So welcome. Thanks for jumping in, Sarah, and everyone else. It is Monday, April Fool's Day, and I figure before we get into our Star Wars news and everything else, did anyone see anything good on April Fool's? I've yet to see anything that like blew me away so far.
I did. I saw the announcement that Britney was working on a new album. And of course, I'm a huge Britney Spears fan. And then I read it, got excited, like, wait a minute.
That was definitely going to affect Mike.
Definitely, yes.
The one thing leading up that I saw was the, I'm pretty sure it's still, I don't think they clarified. I didn't see it, but 7-Eleven was doing Big Bite or hot dog flavored seltzer, which sounds disgusting, but I wouldn't put it past them. So
there's always
hopefully
a gross
that's fake
food announcement in the mix. When I was at Mondelez, so this is 10 years ago now, they announced some like wackadoodle flavor of Oreo, and now it's 10 years later, they could do it. Like it's the kind of thing where
I would eat it.
Yeah, it's like let's see, what do we say?
Well, you know, there was the one April Fool food that Joanna said that she actually wanted, and it was the French fry stuffed baked potato served on a bed of mashed potatoes. So it's like a vegan
potatoes
surprise.
three-way.
Yeah, it's the turducken of potatoes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
But potatoes, you can't go wrong with potatoes.
Sherry's saying she saw that George Takei was saying he retired from social media. That's where all his money comes from now, that and the con circuit. So that would be a moment for sure. What did I see? There was a mocked up image from, so you know how Deadpool and Wolverine has all of these leaks and like fake stuff. There was someone who mocked up like a pretty convincing Cyclops and Jean Grey from the Fox live action, and sort of put them into the Wolverine Deadpool new movie and claimed that they saw the actors were there. So it wasn't Famke Jensen though, it was the other one. But either way, like that immediately, like my Scooby-Doo ears went up, and I was like, that doesn't look real.
Yeah. The other thing was about the Hayden Christensen and Padme. What's her name?
Natalie Portman, yeah.
Natalie Portman, that they were dating. That they split from their spouses and were now dating. So that was
Natalie Portman finally left Moby.
Yes.
Does anyone remember that, by the way? Am I the only one who like actually remembers thinking they dated? Because she was, I realize it now, and it's problematic now, but I'm the same age as her, basically. She was 19, I was 18. So she was 19, and I guess Moby was in his early 30s or something. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it. I thought they were legitimately dating. And years later, he said something about how he had dated Natalie Portman, and she said, like, ew, gross, I thought you were old and weird or something, right? And she's like, I never went on a date with you. What happened here? Like, the disconnect was real. But in my mind, I remember in the pop culture, like, he was at the top of his game in the late 90s with like his music and everything. Like Play was everywhere. Like, Techno was having a moment. Natalie Portman was cast in Star Wars. Like, this all seems like it was happening, and I'm like, did I hallucinate that they dated also? Was I in on this gaslighting? I don't know. Does anyone else remember this? Tell me in the comments.
That makes sense though, Mark, because she was all up too at that time in the '90s. She had all her movies coming out. She was
Yeah.
up and coming,
Yeah.
quickly rising.
Oh boy, thank you, Dave. Yes, absolutely breaking news here. Mark Hamill is doing a live signing at Boonta Eve. We did pick a terrible time for announcements of any type to start rolling out on the channel. We should have waited like 3 more days. And in fact, like, I have a rule as someone who works on a brand, we stay off of social media on April 1st. We also stay off on Memorial Day, 9/11, a couple other days. Like, we stay away from days where just like it's a heavy social media day. And April
Right.
Fools is always one of them. We probably won't even have a post tomorrow. We'll probably wait till Wednesday just to like clear, through. Because people will react poorly or get annoyed or whatever else. But yeah, we do have real announcements though that we do want to go through today. Actually, let's do that now. The VCN family vacation is rapidly approaching. My understanding is that there are about 14 or 15 tickets left for the bus, so under 20 tickets available. Look at that. I mean, we are nearing the sellout, which is very exciting because the trip is like less than 4 months away now. Now that we're in April, we have April, May, June, end of July. So we're talking like 3.5-ish months coming up.
It's gonna be here before you know it.
Yeah. And it's a packed agenda. As you know, there's a portion of the trip that's in Southern California and then a portion in the trip that's in Northern California. We have now announced the themes of the Boonta Eves. And I think we have graphics for pretty much all of them. So the first one is Heroes of the Filoniverse. And as you can see from the black cowboy hat over there, we are talking about the one and only Dave Filoni. So think anything that Filoni has had his fingers in, and which would be as recent as Ahsoka, and
Pretty much
Mando and
almost all
Boonta.
the TV shows, I think. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
Clone Wars, Rebels. Like, he is the king of Star Wars television. So we are celebrating all things in the Filoniverse on the first of the events, which is the Monday. Yes. See,
Yes.
we got to add the dates to these as a next step. Okay. Then the next one, yes, there's the July 29th through August 2nd are the actual dates. So we have a graphic for the other ones too, right? There's Heroes of the Filoniverse and then Galaxy's Most Wanted. So this one's at Biggs. And this is actually kind of like the scum and villainy, weirdly enough, of the actors and characters. So these are your villains, your bounty hunters. Think of your villains going on in this one, which would be really, really fun.
It's a little broader than just villains. I think it's the implication of Galaxy's Most Wanted is more of like a double entendre. So, the Empire might be wanting some of these individuals as much as the rebellion or somebody else, or even an actual bounty hunter. So
That's right.
Wasn't this one more like original trilogy centric as well?
yes,
So
Excited to see it. And then Southern California. Those are the two Southern California ones. And then we have a Northern California event as well. And these are creators, which is definitely not stolen from the Masters of the Universe logo. Creators of the Star Wars universe, which some behind the scenes kind of people and other things. So very exciting stuff there. And that'll be a much smaller quantity of people. And then we have some names that were actually revealed this week. I can't remember a single one of them. We'll wait for the graphic to come up.
we had some previews. They were sneak peeks, sort of leaked things, and then we'll go through those and go get to the one that was this week.
Okay. So there's Nelson Lake. Okay, this one made me like audibly gasp. So Mike, this man became public enemy number one in
Senator,
the Ahsoka
yes,
show, right?
Senator
Senator
Yono.
Yono. Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah. How many people are going to try to slap him in the face at Celebration 2025.
Get
This
in
poor man
line.
is going to need a bodyguard.
Get in line.
He's so swarmy in that role and so rude to everyone, and you could tell like Chopper was ready to like just take him down. And yeah, I want to see him and Chopper duke it out.
Yeah.
He's
His only
terrific in the role.
his only redeeming quality is that in Star Wars Resistance, he did have a change of heart towards the end. So that, he does get redeemed.
Yeah, look, everyone gets a redemption. But
Yeah.
Nelson Lee is tremendous in this role as terrible Senator Giono in Ahsoka. He's only in a couple. I think he's in 2 episodes. But we love to hate him, and we're very excited. I think this is one of his first signings, which is going to be very, very exciting. First big event. One of the
First
first big
U.S.
events.
signing.
First U.S. signing. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
awesome. That's going to
That
be
is awesome.
fantastic. So get your Ahsoka pieces ready, like your big cast pieces. Like I feel like this is a clue, guys. All right, who else we got, Jeff? Pam Riddle and Warren. Is it Prule? How do you say it?
Yeah, I think you got it right there.
Prule?
He
Yeah,
goes over. He says it so quickly, you almost don't hear half the
yeah.
letters when he pronounces his own name. So I would say Prule is probably a good,
Mhm.
middle ground. But they have a great resume amongst them of so many different characters and you know costumes.
Mhm. I got to tell you, when I was at Tops, we would have character actors, creature actors like these guys. And if they were in Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, and then sometimes Rogue One, Solo, a Star Wars story, they could be in all 5 of those movies if they were based in London. And you'd end up doing, over the course of those movies, maybe 10 roles. We would have them autograph cards across all those roles and all those movies. It's kind of awesome. So you can go on eBay and or look at the checklist for some of those actors, and you can see the many, many roles that they've played. The creature shop is where it's at. I count 4 characters in Warren's little card over there, just the ones, and one where he's showing his face, which is awesome. And I'm sure he's done a bunch more.
Well,
And then Pam has 2 credits over there.
so it part of that is what they mention in
Mhm.
our little preview videos, but also he's Obi-Wan in that shot there where his face
Mhm.
is showing. So unfortunately, that doesn't get to make it into the final cut. It
Yeah.
might make it into some behind the scenes stuff like the galleries, but he's there to
He
be
is the
on set
stand-in.
when
Yeah.
when Ewan's not. So, but Pam has a whole laundry list of characters as well, and
Mhm.
some of them are harder to locate and be certain about who's actually portraying them. Where like even like Warren there he's played multiple troopers and other types of characters that come in groups. So it's like, is he
Mhm.
this guy or was he that guy in this big
Oh,
crowd scene kind of thing?
I
But
can't
there's
tell you what we went
yeah.
through to get Lucasfilm PR to approve a specific image for a specific actor and a specific shot. It was wild, and that's why they usually didn't let us put troopers into cards, or autograph cards anyway. For that exact reason, it was always a thing. So yeah, super exciting stuff. So now that we're in the 4-month window of
So
family vacation, there's going to be ongoing announcements. Um,
today's announcement was this one.
Yes. Oh, the ladies. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk Lauren Mary Kim. I've met her. Mike, you have as well, right?
Yeah, she's just stunning.
We encountered her at the Soka Day at Disneyland for with Ashley Eckstein. She was in the group. Myself and another member were in getting our photo taken, and all of a sudden Ashley's like, "Oh, Lauren, come out!" and like drew her out of she was in that group of people ready to take this group photo, and drew her out and talked to her for a minute. I got some video of her interacting with Ashley. And
That's
then
awesome.
later on, she was hanging around, and we got some photos with her. I don't. Did you get a photo with her, Mike?
I not at Galaxy's Edge, but I did at LA Comic Con.
Oh, right, that's right. That was
Mhm.
before we had met her
Just before, right?
at LA
LA
Comic
Comic Con.
Con back in December.
Mhm.
Uh, when she was hanging out. She had the table with Amy Allen and Chris Bartlett, which was a
Yes,
nice
that's right.
selection of people.
That trio. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's been doing quite a bit of the circuit because I met her at Rhode Island Comic Con, which is where I think Spencer first met her as well. Um,
Hmm.
and she's done a few different things. And I think she was at New York Comic Con too with Justin and a few of the other behind the scenes stunt actors and creature shop people. Put the graphic up one more time, please, Jeff. I did want everyone to see the various credits. So Lauren Marie Kim is probably best known actually as doing the mocap for Ahsoka in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, season 7.
Fantastic. Oh
So
my God. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Fantastic.
that
Her
lightsaber
didn't
fight.
Ray do the mocap for
Yeah.
Maul? Yeah, that's
Yes.
a great combination right there of them
Oh, it's
two.
unreal. And look at her other pieces there, where she's
So
Diana Lee and Santo is already like incredible, right? And then you have Lauren behind her, and then she's a Mandalorian. She's doing the armorer, and
so
then
that's
Michelle Lee.
Koska Reeves and the Armorer and Morgan Elsbeth specifically in that fight
incredible.
against. So she must have been fighting like Michelle in that scene,
Yeah, had to
or
be right.
partially might have been uh, uh, what's her face as well, but I can't think of her name. Ahsoka herself. Anyways,
Rosario. Yeah,
Rosario, yes. But that's a great shot of her, in costume, in action there with that Beskar rod thing.
yeah, it's very cool.
So
And then Michelle Lee as the stunt double for Ahsoka, which is very, very cool. And I think
And
Koska
then-
Reeves also, right? And the
no,
armorer.
that's actually
No?
Bo-Katan.
Is that Bo-Katan and the armorer? Yeah.
So the
That's
armorer as well.
awesome.
They both do the armorer, and they do different versions of Ahsoka, and
Yep.
they do different Amandos, and
This will be cool to have these two women together. And again, get your Ahsoka pieces ready. So that's here's the thing: get your big pieces ready for this event, because you're going to meet a lot of people who, one, I think are relatively affordable. So you can get a lot of different people signing, and they're across multiple pieces of content. So you're going to want your Mando posters, your Book of Boba Fett, your Ahsoka, all those types of things. Big cast pieces that you can get a lot of different people added to, and people you might not always find. I like the weird and wacky pieces of all of it. So that's my Rebels poster back. Where's it over there? Doop, doop. There we go. Got to keep adding to that one. So it's coming along.
Yeah, and you know what? It's going to be some people you won't be able to find at other places also. So it's going to be some unique signings, some opportunities.
And
So-
likely things like Nelson being his first signing, things will change, as it were, as he goes on. This probably be the least cost that's required for him,
right.
and some others. But it's a great. I mean, it's a one-stop shop. All three of the Boonta Eves. So.
And it's long before Celebration too, so if you can get a bunch of people here, and then
Mhm.
you're okay to wait for Ewan McGregor or someone to add to it or whatever. Like, you don't mind waiting in line a couple hours, and you're not worried about missing out on 20 other people. That could work. And Dave is saying there's going to be event posters. We have not revealed the artwork on the event poster yet, but yeah, that would be cool to get signed by everyone. I like that as well.
That was a good option at Boonta in Anaheim,
Mhm.
and I believe we had something similar in London. I don't know because I wasn't there. But for Anaheim, we had like the Boonta logo with some thumbnails of the different actors, so you had somewhere for them to sign and get. That was, again, could be like a group piece, and just limited to who was actually at the event.
Mhm. Yeah, exciting stuff. By the way, much more to come on the family vacation. There's going to be weekly, or not weekly, it's multiple times a week. There's going to be name drops happening. I believe it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to get new names for who's signing at the various events. That's how many people are coming. So 12 weeks times 3 times a week. There's at least someone being announced across those days, which is fantastic. So be on the lookout. It'll be on the Facebook page, of course. All right, so what else is going on in the pop culture? The big movie this weekend was Godzilla. Mike, you saw it. Tell us what you thought.
I didn't see it, but my friends did see it and did a review, and I watched their show. And Godzilla versus King Kong was fantastic, amazing. So they gave it a 5 out of 5 stars,
Wow,
and they said it was even better than Godzilla -1, which I absolutely
that's
love.
crazy.
So
I'm
I
not
can't
getting.
I can't wait to see it.
No.
Yeah.
I can't take that seriously. Godzilla -1 is like pure art, and then this, I got to tell you from the trailer, looks like severe nonsense.
Yeah, it looks like
that
a
being
different
said-
type of
But you know
movie.
what? You get lots of other monsters.
Yeah,
So I
of
think that's the
course.
thing. In Godzilla -1, it was just Godzilla. But now
Yeah,
you get Mothra. You get a whole bunch of the
I love my
classic
Mothra.
monsters.
Mo-
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, she's
So
my favorite without a doubt. I'll watch anything that Mothra's in. Keep bringing her back. It makes not a look. It doesn't make a lick of sense, but I don't care. There's a Mothra
somehow
every 10 years.
Mothra came back.
Exactly, constantly. I was like, how many eggs are there? Jesus. So, that being said, I'm not mad about it. I
No.
will say the thing that I think is funny is the way the Monarch show on Amazon Prime takes this universe so seriously. It is like serious as a heart attack. And then you see the trailer for this nonsense, and I was like, is how are these in the same universe? And if you go back and you watch the original Godzilla, which by the way I did very recently, I was like, let me watch the original. It is like dark and moody and sad and just like kind of depressing, which is what a Godzilla minus one really was. Godzilla minus one left me traumatized, but it was like amazing. And then you watch Godzilla versus Kong, the first one, not even this new one, and it's like, how are these in the same universe? Godzilla minus one is not, by the way. That's in a totally different world. But
Right.
Godzilla, the one from like 10 years ago or whatever, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla versus Kong, Kong X Godzilla, the New Empire, or whatever this thing is called, gets wackier and wackier. It's Nightmare on Elm Street. It starts off serious and then it just goes off the rails into the MTV generation version of Freddy Krueger, right? That's what's happened with this franchise.
And I'm there for it. I'm I'm
Yep.
I'm taking it all in.
Yeah, you can see it in the reviews. The original Godzilla from 10 years ago has an excellent critic score and a low audience score, and now it is fully swapped. It has
It's
seesawed like
flipped.
this.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
flipped.
it fully flipped. So, but I agree, Sarah. I loved Monarch, and I like that it took it super seriously. Um, I did not like Godzilla versus Kong. I was like, what is this? Oh, King of Monsters. I forgot King of Monsters is in there too. There's 6 entries in this cinematic universe. And King of Monsters had Mothra, which was great. And she saves the day like she always does. But like, look, I can't even talk about Matthew Broderick right now. I'll be, I can't. That movie is terrible in every way. And look, there's a million Godzilla movies. We watched a listicle that had all of them, and I've seen some iteration of pretty much all of them, whether it was in its original Japanese with subtitles or Americanized or whatever else. And like that Godzilla from 1999 or 2000 or whatever it was is just garbage. Like there's nothing redeeming about it. But yeah, I'm I'm excited to see the universe continue. I haven't. I don't know if I'm going to go see this one on the big screen though. There's other stuff coming.
I absolutely have to because it's Godzilla.
Yeah.
I almost went 2 or 3 times over the weekend, but changed my plans. And the AMC app was giving me issues, so I was like, "Screw you! You don't want my ticket reservation, then whatever." Anyways,
Well, I'm basically tracking a week
sooner or later,
behind.
yeah.
So I did Dune 2 last weekend, and I did Ghostbusters Frozen Empire this past weekend. So I'm finally like, I feel like I'm caught up. I'm just about current, right? If I can go see Godzilla next week, the
Did
Dune
somebody
bucket, I
mention
can't.
Dune?
I can't. Look,
Don't say it.
I have a few things to disclose. First off, I am a licensee of Dune. And when that thing popped up, I thought it was an early April Fool's joke. What the fuck? Like, there aren't words for
I
how this happens.
You know what? I love this bucket. I don't know. I bought it. They sold it like a month before the film came out, and I was at the theater and like, oh, let me just buy it. And of course, they sold out. I love this bucket. I have other popcorn buckets, but this is the only one that's so like relevant. It's always coming up in conversations. I don't bring
Mhm.
it up until someone mentions Dune, and I'm like, oh, speaking
Yeah.
of Dune, here's my bucket.
Yep. I can't. I will say the popcorn bucket game for Ghostbusters, and I mentioned this last week, is out of control. There was a Slimer and a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man cup and a trap, and you name it. They're going to make more money on the buckets than they will on the movie.
Oh yeah.
And so we've
Did you
we've
see?
gotten to
Did you
that
see the
point.
Slimer where you eat out of his butt? Is that the
Can't.
Slimer bucket? You
Ay,
eat the
ay, ay.
popcorn out of his butt.
Yeah, this tracks. I will say Slimer being prominently featured in the movie was like wildly unnecessary, but I'm here for it because as a kid, I love the cartoon, and Slimer was such a big part of the cartoon. Like he was like the 6th character
Yeah, he
basically.
was. He
So
really
I was
was.
into it. Yeah. Yeah, Sarah's right. That bucket exists because there wasn't one woman or one gay guy to be like, guys, what's happening here? I think
I
I
don't
don't
know. I'm
under
pretty gay and I love it.
yeah, I can't I just can't believe it's real. Like when I'm telling you,
I
when the
can't
picture
either.
first hit the internet, I was like, "What in the AI hell is this?" And then there it is. I mean, I know multiple people who have bought it. It's
Yeah.
become a thing.
I didn't
I guess
believe it either. I didn't believe it, Mark. When I first saw it, I said, "It's got to be a joke. There's no
yeah,
way they could be selling this," you know.
yeah.
But I remember when the Dune came out, the original Dune, and they sold the sandworm. Remember that sandworm?
I don't
It was
remember
like
it.
a oh, you'll remember it. It's like a oh gosh, can you pop it up, Jeff? It's a big black phallic thing of a worm,
Oh
and
no.
it's
I
like
don't remember
malleable.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a toy, so
Oh
I remember it.
Jesus.
I
I see.
remember it.
I
You
was
were too
very
young,
young.
Mark.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So aside from Ghostbusters and Kong, Lori's asking a good question here about what theater chain is going to have the episode one popcorn bucket. I'm not up to speed on this, but we'll do some research for you and look into it because I know that there is some very fancy artwork for episode one happening on this popcorn bucket, but what they don't have, other than the Jabba the Hutt one, is like a fancy shape kind of bucket or like an
Yep.
unnecessarily intricate, complicated bucket.
And the Jabba one is, bless you, the Jabba one is Disneyland, so it's not even a movie theater exclusive. It's
Mhm.
You're muted, Mike.
Yeah, sorry. I said because I sneezed. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't wait to get that one. I've got my reservation for April 5th for Seasons of the Force. And
yeah,
I'll
I'm
Oh,
be
gonna
nice.
be
picking up
there
that.
too.
Hopefully, I can get that Jabba the Hutt bucket with Salacious Crumb.
There's so much stuff on that day; it's insane.
But
Yeah.
I have to get that bucket.
Yeah, that's a really cool one. And having it make noise is
He
super
talks.
fun.
They both talk. Salacious talks and Jabba talks.
That's
It's like,
cool.
come on, you
Yeah.
got to get them.
Everyone will have to share their buckets because I'm nowhere near any of the Batus. But yeah, I will be on the lookout for lots of May the 4th merch, I'm sure, happening throughout. So here's the thing about May the 4th. People don't realize that May the 4th is the final day of the celebration for pretty much all things Star Wars, for May the 4th day, because they don't really want you to do anything on the 5th. So, for example, De Nuevo Novo will start its sale the week before, and it's the week that leads up to, and the final day of the sale is May the 4th. Lots of other Star Wars licensees, and in fact, all of them have to follow that same structure because they can't have a sale that goes past the 4th. Like you can't
Oh,
still have
wow.
your sale running on the 5th. So Her Universe, Lego, Hasbro, Funko, whoever else, if they're doing a sale, it's probably starting, especially the way it falls this year, on Friday, April 26th or Saturday, April 27th, whatever that is, and it'll run through that week until Saturday, May 4th. And then at
Part
midnight,
they
11:59 p.m., whatever.
they partially kind of clarified that and also talked about how it extends now with this whole Imperial March thing.
hmm
So they're, even though they were pushing the stuff at the Empire State Building near the end of the month, uh they're like, well, we're in Imperial March now, and it goes until basically May the 4th.
Yeah.
Through April. And oh, that's gross, Mike. I don't want to put that
Okay.
Um, so I'm planning on so I live in New York. I will be going to the Empire State Building in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, to go to the Star Wars situation at the Empire State Building because they still have displays up, and it all goes through the end of April. I think, just like Jeff
It's
said, like it
yeah,
hits
sometime
until
in 20th
yeah.
something of April.
Yeah, so I got to get there before it all shuts down. I have a friend coming into town. What is it? That the 18th, 19th. So we're gonna go then. Yeah. No one Google that worm. Everyone stay clear. Meanwhile,
It's
we're
a 1984 worm. Google it. You
yeah.
won't be disappointed.
Jesus.
I'm sure
Um,
Michael shared in one of the chats, so just keep an eye out.
yeah.
No,
Mike's on
no.
air a lot this week. So Mike, you're gonna be on. You have Jedi Archives this week, and you have the Bad Batch after show.
No, no Jedi Archives, but we do have Bad After Show.
Is there no Jedi Archives this week?
No, that's the following week because it was a 5th week Sunday. So,
Mhm.
oh yeah, it is. It is. We're
Yeah,
on
it's
this
this week.
Sunday.
Yeah,
You're right.
so that
You're
was
right. Sorry.
your whole
I
That's
was gonna
right.
say if it's wrong again, I'm gonna
No,
throw a
no.
chair.
You're right. You're right. It
The
was
whole
wrong, but now it's
kerfuffle.
correct. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's
Yes.
correct. We have
We're good
Jedi
now.
Archives coming up. It's a really good
Yes.
one too because it's the taking of the Ataraxia. I've got my High Republic shirt on.
Okay.
So it's a good one. So I like this issue. So yeah, that's Sunday, and then Friday we've got our Bad Batch after show for 2 episodes. That's going to be a good one. So tune in. Last
Mhm.
week's Bad Batch after show was over an hour because we had so much to talk about. Because of course, hello, Asajj.
Yeah.
So
Asajj.
there's so much to talk about.
I just love her so much, and
Oh,
I
she's
know they said
fantastic.
they're gonna explore how she returned in a future, like a piece of future content. I'm hoping that means like Tales of the Jedi or something. Um, I'm not care how they do it. I'm agnostic to how they do it, but I just do want
Here's
more.
Maya
Yeah.
Saj. I love Maya
Oh, that's
Saj.
your Black series. Very
Yes,
nice.
I love
Yeah.
her. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
good
I'm
stuff.
hoping we get a comic series because we've had some really good comic series with Asajj in the EU. And the thing about Asajj coming back from the dead, she has done it several times. And if you watch my after show analysis from Friday, we do talk about those EU comic issues where Asajj does
Mhm.
come back, and she explains exactly how. So it's very possible that she comes back. It's very probable
Mhm.
actually because in when
Yeah.
she died in the book gosh,
Dark Disciple.
yeah, Dark Disciple, she got electrocuted,
Mhm.
right? So, and we have people that get like cut in half, they get stabbed through the heart, and they through the stomach, and they still come back. So she only got
Yeah,
electrocuted. So
she'll
it's
be
very
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she's definitely easy to come back from that. So I'm hoping for a comic series.
Just a little, fatal electrocution. Nothing a little dark side anger won't cure.
Right,
Um,
right. You know, because they
yeah,
thrive on pain anyway. So the dark
exactly.
side is that's how you train through
She just
pain.
needed a nap. Look, the Clone
Mhm.
Wars were exhausting, and Quinlan Voss is a pain in the ass. So, you take all that in, and then or she was unconscious during Order 66, right? So she missed that whole kerfuffle, which will now be the word of the day. Um, Yeah, so just a quick note on the schedule for the week. So we actually have like a big programming calendar and it actually has Jedi Archives in there, but then it came out with Unifying Force. I was like, "Oh, maybe my thing was wrong." It goes to the chat for everyone to look at. No one said a thing. We publish it, and then everyone's like, "Isn't it supposed to be Jedi Archives this week?" And I was like, "Son of
Yeah.
a bitch."
I
That
was
was
So,
me.
Scooby had pointed out that I put up the wrong dates because I go from a previously used
mhm.
thing and update it, and looking at that stuff over and over again, you get
Oh,
blind
yeah,
to the
yeah. No, I
details.
know. It's
And
crazy. It's the
then
same over here.
because of the fifth week last Sunday, I skipped from what would have probably been
Yep.
uh, Unifying Force to Jedi Archives, thinking that was the right order, but not considering the shift. Yeah, lots of fun. But behind
Yeah.
the scenes stuff that nobody needs to know.
We have
I
Google Docs
know.
upon Google Docs. I've now built out an Excel file that takes us through the end of the year. It doesn't have everything laid out perfectly, but at least there's a structure. People can dive in and look at stuff. But that's what we do in our downtime, guys, to like figure out how we're going to plan what's going on. And a lot
Yeah,
of it is also like we have to know what Lucasfilm is going to do. Like when is Bad Batch airing? When is Acolyte
right,
airing? If and when is Skeleton Crew ever going to be a thing? Like that then drives a lot of our programming and the lead up to it. May the 4th is really important. This whole dark
right.
side thing, like I don't know,
And I'm running
I
I'm
don't
running
know.
all my Google Docs too, and I think I sent you a request to give me access to your Google
Hmm.
Sheet because I do mine on the side for my programs.
Yep.
But yeah, if you give me access, then I'll be able to go in there and
We
double
have
check that.
Yep.
too many Google documents floating
And
around.
6,000 chats. Everyone's
Yeah.
now invited to the staff meeting, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah,
When I tell you how many chats we are in, and what's funny is there isn't an all hosts chat, and I keep saying we need
there
that,
isn't.
and I was
We
like, I don't know if
do.
I want to start another chat. So, all
We
right. With
do need
that in
one
mind, though, we should
because
start the
I was
episode.
trying to I was trying to tag Cat and Geo, but they're not in that chat.
No,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh wait a minute.
yeah. So Sherry, don't give Spencer any ideas about new shows. As the head of programming, I just keep saying no to things. I was like, we don't really need that. We're very busy. We don't have enough hosts. Just like yeah. He'll make you do it, Sherry. That's what's gonna happen. He'll show up at your house and he'll like put a camera up like this, and before you know it, you'll be hosting every fifth Sunday,
Yep.
twice a year. All right, with that in mind, let's get the episode rolling. We are talking Star Wars Rebels. We haven't said a word about Star Wars for a half an hour. This is
Whoops.
the problem. Like every now and then, someone has to just grab the wheel and tell us to get back on track. Uh,
And
so
Mike will be pleased to see that I remembered to put a timestamp on this graphic.
Yay.
Last week I forgot, and I'm listening to you guys as I'm driving to see Shatner. No, was not Shatner. No, I was doing
okay,
something else on Wednesday, on Monday. Oh no, to go see Kevin Smith do his podcast, and I'm like, oh no, I forgot the hole for the timestamp. So,
all
anyways, we
good.
have it this time. All
Thanks,
Yep.
right,
Jeffy.
and
Well,
we'll start
everyone,
the.
So we're gonna do the countdown in a second, but yes, Sarah and Sherry. Actually, here's the thing. So the show, we're gonna be doing Rebels for another 5 months or so before we turn over to Clone Wars. I would love to have people from the chat come on and do a watch along with us. So Sarah and Sherry, send me. You know what we have left to watch. It's mostly season 4. To have you guys come on with me and Ashley and do like a co-host situation for the end of this series would be really, really fun. Shoot me a note. And we'll figure out a time for you guys to come on air with us. That'll be a blast. So,
That
and
would be
everyone else
fun,
in the chat
Sherry and
too.
Sarah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Or Lori, anyone.
yeah,
It's join.
Lori,
It's fun. They
everyone in
make
the
it really
chat.
easy, because I just hopped on last minute today, and I'm just gonna I'm here for the ride. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, Jason, you can send notes to Sarah. Be like, I disagree. Send. It'll be great. So, all right, let's cue up the countdown. Everyone, to get your Disney Plus going. Season 4, Episode 7, Kindred. All right, Jeff, hit that button. So this worked out actually serendipitously because Mike really knows the character of Rook. And I want you to talk a little bit about like the EU connections with him and everything because he's not really the same character in Rebels. I feel like they just scratched the surface.
Yeah, they did a big disservice for Rook because I love that character. And I felt that with Kanan, I felt they took a lot from the Force Unleashed, how he blinded his master. It's very similar to what had happened here with Ezra and Kanan.
Yeah, him being blind is a little heavy-handed in terms of the I can see what I can't see kind of stuff. But I think it works really well in season 3. And we know we're headed to the end game in all of this, and you can see the finality approaching with Kanan. Meanwhile, I'm loving Governor Price and her field officer drag over here. It's funny because like you'd like to think that she's someone who's never seen a day of action and she's like very prim and proper and put together and she's just wearing this for fun, but she's not to be trifled with, this lady.
Mm-hmm.
She needs a Tuca doll like Mike has.
Oh yeah, I've got my Thrawn Tuca.
Rook, voiced by the awesome Warwick Davis. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about what Rook was like in the EU books.
Well, in the EU's, he's a Nogri, right? And that planet was one where they believed that they had been saved by Vader. And so they were really thankful to the Empire, and they became loyal subjects of the Empire because of the Empire saving their planet. When in reality, and so Vader in the EU, his mask was figured to look like the faces of the Nogri. So in the EU, the Nogri's faces were structured very angular, very much like Vader's mask. And they're kind of like a dog species because they go by scent and they could smell him. And that's how they knew that Leia was Lady Vader, because they could smell the scent on her hand when they greeted her. And so they became very loyal to her to protect her. They're fierce protectors. And they can almost have like this become invisible. They're very good, excellent spies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just love the Nogri.
So is the look accurate in Rebels?
A little bit. So if you look at the Nogri face, it's kind of like Vader's mask, right? Do you see
And
it?
he's
Like
more rounded in Rebels, is what it seems
yeah,
like.
he's more rounded in Rebels,
Yeah.
but in the EU is more like, it looked more like Vader's mask, but flesh. But you still can see like the eyes and the sort of like a hint of Vader's mask.
And here he is running kind of like a dog. He's on all fours.
Yeah, they're like dogs because they go by scent.
And he sniffed him out.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, if you saw that running at you, I don't care how much force power you have, like, it's not great. I'm gonna run. I'm just gonna run.
Yeah, he's super fast. And
Yeah.
they're assassins. They're excellent
Yeah.
assassins. And of
This
course,
is
in
where
the
you need
EU,
like a. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say in the EU, Rook is the one who ultimately kills Thrawn.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's sniffing.
Yuck.
He can tell something's not right. He's like, I smell Jedi. Oh,
Yeah. Oh boy. This is where you really need, um, like Kanan or someone with good, powerful Jedi skills. You need to force choke something. Yeah, like that. Force
that was
choke
pretty
and
good.
force push from.
Yeah, that was
See, he
pretty good.
can't smell the Jedi. Yeah. Can't you smell the midichlorians in the blood? I'm sure he has a huge M count. Which, by the way, Bad Batch last week, they said the word. I mean, we've been dancing around M count for a while now. They said it.
Everybody has an M count.
Hmm.
But
And
they
that's
also said that
Jai-Kel.
M count doesn't determine your ability to use the Force either.
Right.
So
It's kind of like IQ, right? Like you still need to study and learn things. It's just your capacity to learn. Like it's
right.
your ceiling. It lets you know how high your ceiling is, but it doesn't mean you're going to get there. Um, and by the way, the person who's with Ezra is Jai-Kel, who's played by Dante Bosco, who we all love from Hook and from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and he appeared in season 1 of Star Wars Rebels, and now he's back. He's part of, I call them the collection of misfit toys, from basically from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like it's them. Like this crazy crew is the one that liberates Lothal. And he's one of them, which is nice that they bring him back like that. Like, because they bring back Ryder Azadi, um, uh, Scatra Vizago, and a bunch of other like season 1 weirdos to help with the rest of the crew, including Captain Rex and everyone else from the core Ghost. And then, yeah, Rook entering, though, feels a little bit like an afterthought. Like they needed to keep upping the ante. Um, and he doesn't really do a whole lot between now and the finale.
Yeah, and he wasn't even used nearly enough. He has so much more potential.
Yeah. He's very smart.
Whoa.
So earlier in the episode, we saw the white loth cat that Ezra sees. Oh, look at that. Yeah, now they can get away. The loth cat and the loth wolves definitely pop up numerous times throughout season 4 and become more and more important, eventually getting us to the world between worlds and everything else. We're going to have some interaction with them later in the episode, which is very exciting. I do like the fact that we are just back on Lethal. We're back where it all began to see how it's going to end. But it feels really different. Like Lethal looks different. We're in a different set of locations than we were in season 1. It feels really hopeless, which is kind of the,
Yes.
you know,
Really hopeless. Yes. And I love Rebels because it started bringing back so much of the EU into canon. The TIE Defenders, Thrawn,
Mhm.
Rook, so many things that I loved from the EU. That's why I was never really upset that they became legends because I thought, you know what, legends doesn't cut them out completely. It just allows them to be almost true. So
Mhm.
then they can be brought back in because it's a legend. So legend is based on truths. You just don't know which parts are real, which ones are not, which ones are
Yeah,
exaggerated. Yeah.
it's mythologies kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yep.
I loved how they introduced this vehicle, which we'd only seen as a toy back in the 70s, 80s.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we saw it live action in Mandalorian, which was awesome. But I had one of those that I ruined playing with it in the water at the beach. So
I still
I
have mine.
I have it. It just doesn't function the way it's supposed to. No sounds, anyways.
Hmm.
Yeah, no sounds.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of that where Filoni and the team went back to the very beginning. The concept art for C3PO is sort of what became, I think, or R2 became Chopper, and I think C3PO sort of became AP5, and the concept art for Chewbacca became Zeb.
Zeb,
Like these,
right.
yeah, the it's kind of they went back to the beginning and they were like, hey, this is almost like its own little legends of like what could have been the start of the rebellion. I like what they do with Ezra's character design too. Throughout like season 4, it feels so much more serious, and he looks like kind of an adult, even though we know he's only like 17 or something.
Right, right. Assassin.
It's interesting that their missions are not like take down a star destroyer. It's like get this one piece to get this ship into the air. Like it's
Mhm.
super high stakes, but like the expectation of what they're going to achieve is so small. And that's how you know it's so hopeless. It's like we have to get this one ship out of the system, maybe. You
Oh,
know,
they finally got their kiss.
Oh, finally. I forget like where this stuff even happens. And that's how she got pregnant, kids. That's how it works. One kiss with a
Yeah,
woman, and there you go. 9 months later, there's some like half-breed
in the
kid.
Star Wars
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah. This is what I was told. Sex education was not comprehensive here. It is funny though that like season 4, like we finally see them kiss, and it's like they were clearly a couple when we met them. Like this
Right.
is not new. And I don't know what the slow roll or like the backtrack on that was to
Right,
then
because
make
you know
it
what?
seem.
They were a couple in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So, New Dawn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, this is not
And
new. Yeah, it wasn't a surprise. It wasn't
mm-mm.
like unexpected. Yeah.
Again, very limited. One transport, one bike.
Yep.
Now they just have the bike. So
It's not even a rebel
very
base. They're just
right, it's
hiding
not.
behind some boxes. This
Ooh,
is
the lone
terrible.
wolves. Yeah,
Yep. Follow the wolves. And in the last episode, you guys remember at the end, the wolf spoke to Ezra
right.
um, and said the word doom, which, if you don't have your closed captioning on, just sounds like doom, a harbinger
But
of
it's
doom. But
Caleb.
yes, Caleb Doom in Dume. Um, so after talking to him and then knocking out Sabine, so it all seems even crazier, right? They find their way safely back. So
Right.
the wolves are actively trying to help Ezra, and they know he's connected to the Force. They understand that Ezra and his crew are the good guys, and I think the wolves probably know that the bad guys are after the entrance to the world between worlds or the Jedi Temple or whatever else. The planet is basically protecting itself.
Yeah, so Sherry and Sarah, you're right. They weren't actually a couple, but Kanan for sure was interested in Hera.
Mhm.
So I love how they cut off Choppers. What the?
Yeah.
It's so funny because I understand all the bad words that Chopper says now after watching Rebels for so many times.
Yeah, you can definitely translate Chopper.
For sure, especially the bad words.
That was a great move that Hera just pulled off to be able to jump in a hyperspace like that. It's very smart.
Hmm.
Everyone's doing their part in this episode. Because in the last episode, they took down the TIE Defender. Sabine and Ezra took down the side, and Zeb took down the TIE
Right.
Defender. They got
Hmm.
the hyperdrive. They got it put into the ship. Hera and Chopper are on their way out. They're obviously going to get help, whereas everyone else is now behind, like holding things down.
These Loth wolves remind me of Game of Thrones.
They're so big.
They're
Like
huge.
they were like, "Hey, this wolf is going to be like triple your size." It's
They
very
have
How to
Sith,
Train Your Dragon. I'm waiting for like the hand going out
yeah,
like this.
but they've got like Sith eyes,
Yeah. They're balanced. They're not necessarily light or dark, right? But they are
right?
trying to preserve the planet.
Like the Bendu.
Yep. I wish we got a little bit more with him. Because he doesn't reappear before the finale, which makes me think that he's coming back in Ahsoka in some form.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's looking at you. Do something, Kanan.
Kanan was able to sense it.
hmm And we saw that Asajj was able to connect with that sea creature thing.
Oh yes,
Um, which is one of Ezra's big tricks, is like knowing how to connect with nature. Good on her for that. I mean, you have to tap into the light side of the Force for that.
absolutely. Because she had to center herself, be calm.
hmm
I love how these caves look like an eye. You know?
Yeah. The design is really spectacular. And I've watched a few videos now where they're like, caves in Star Wars are such a thing. Every time you enter a cave, you have a different type of challenge or you learn something, and of
Mhm.
course they always reference the cave in Empire Strikes Back where Luke
And
has to,
that's like the
you know,
cave on Nelvon when Anakin goes in and sees all the drawings that predict his future turning into Vader.
hmm
Oh,
and Rey going into the cave where she, confronts the dark side of herself. And um, oh, baby boy, what are you doing? Um, Cats are just too much over here. Yeah, so now they're safe. They're safe in the cave.
the wolves like, nope, don't go anywhere. This also reminds me of the crystal foxes in
Is it Last Jedi or
Last Jedi. Yeah,
yeah,
how they guided them out of the cave.
yeah. I love the Last Jedi. I
I
know that's
love the Last
controversial
Jedi
for
too.
some people.
That's my
That's
favorite,
one
one
of
of
my
the three.
favorites. The
Yeah.
cinematography is incredible. Meanwhile,
Oh,
this is a
gorgeous.
scene. How much has this scene been dissected by people, right? Because they essentially just traveled through hyperspace, right? Um, or the world between worlds or something. Like it's not clear and it's not really explained, and they don't have to explain it. But look where they end back up.
The White
Like,
Loaf Cat.
yeah, right, which Ezra said at the beginning of the episode to follow them. Um,
Mhm.
so now they're unconscious in a field, the way all good long weekends end. And now they don't know how they got there, what happened. Uh, Jeff, Ezra's eyes like lit up
Mhm.
like the way the Purgles would take you through hyperspace. Oh, and there it is, Jesus just popped up like, and they're on the other side of the planet. Oh, that's a good quote, Jason. Yeah, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Which, I mean, how much of Star Wars is about overcoming your fears and taking a huge adventure? Like, it's really, fear is always something that needs to be dealt with. Yeah, so they moved hemispheres.
Halfway across the planet.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's crazy.
So Lothal has these like jump points within the planet. Do we think any other planets have that? Or is it just planets that are strong in the force, where there are specific types of things that can happen with the temples? Like there's any number of, you know, possibilities.
I think
But
it's
look,
like in Lost, you know how Lost had all those different locations where you could jump through? It was specific
mhm,
locations. And I
yeah.
think like in a real world analogy would be like I love traveling. It's like when I went to Chichen Itza, or I went to certain places around the world that are high magnetic. Like I also went to Machu Picchu.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and these are the same hieroglyphics that were also in the other tunnel. So I think it
Yes,
was a network on Lothal of the Jedi temples. And
it's
there's
got to
Jedi
be.
temples. There's Jedi temples on Batu also, which is
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Yeah, Stargates. Um,
Yes, Sarah. That's how Nessie hides.
I love that. And here's your How to Train Your Dragon moment. I remember that from
Okay,
the
man.
trailer, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
Yeah, Lethal is super strong in the Force, which
Yeah, it is.
they tease us with in season one, and then they show us in season two at the temple, like all the stuff that happens. It's wild. But season
Right.
four takes it into a whole other place. Now, do you remember way back in season two when Minister Tua says she knows why the Empire is on the planet, and it's way more nefarious than anyone realizes, and it involves the Emperor himself?
Right.
2 seasons prior, they're planting the seeds to this where it's like
Mhm.
this is a very strong in the Force planet, and there's an entrance to the world between worlds or whatever it is, with these mystical wolves and whatever else. And Palpatine is up here trying to figure it out. Yeah, look at this. This is incredible.
Trying to gain access to it. It's just like Dagobah was very strong in the Force also.
Yeah,
And Dagobah had the caves also.
big connection in nature. That was the thing.
Mhm. And those hieroglyphics look just like the ones on Nelvan. So I'm sure Nelvan was a strong Force center as
Mhm.
well.
Oh, and here we go, seeing uh, Hera meet up with Mon Mothma. Here we go.
Give her that hyperdrive.
Yep, I love my Mon Mothma. She's one of my all-time
Me
favorites.
too. Love her.
Hicks, stop it.
Wow. Great
Excellent
episode.
episode.
Love it.
One of the best for sure. Um, Very serious, very mystical. Um, Also really introduces us to Rook. And I know we don't do a ton with him, but we have quite a bit left in the series to get to do some stuff with him.
Mhm.
So um, we'll see more of Rook for sure. And in fact, we do have another watch along next week just to look at what we have going on. So today was episode 7, Kindred. Next week we are doing episode 8, Crawler Commandos. So we'll see more of Rook, and we'll get an answer directly to what's happening with this episode. Now, do you remember when this was airing live? It was 2 episodes a night in season 4. They had no chill. They were like 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. Let's go.
Right.
It
That
was
was
like a race
awesome.
to the finish. Yeah.
It was the good old days
Hmm. I
before
do
the
miss
dark times.
Yeah, I do miss new episodes of Rebels. That was always so exciting to just like Friday night, just tune in Disney XD, get on Twitter as it's happening, and um, unravel the mystery of everything. But we have Bad Batch running, and Bad Batch is crushing it this season. So for anyone who might have missed out on Bad Batch, or you weren't super into it in season 1 the way I was, I didn't love it. It's gotten really, really, really good.
That's for sure. I do recommend watching this. It is the final season, so it's
Hmm.
going to wrap up a lot of things. So it's gonna be a lot more action packed because every episode counts. There's only
Yeah,
we only have 15. We're already on 9, so we
yeah, we're
have
halfway
6
there.
left. Yeah.
Yeah, more than
So
halfway. Yeah,
and
you're
there's
right.
2 episodes this week, so that means that out of we only will yeah we'll only have 4 left after that.
Yeah, Bad
So
Batch ends on
May the
Friday,
1st.
May 3rd,
Oh, is it
right?
May
Friday,
3rd?
May 3rd, right?
Yeah, it's before May the
Um,
4th.
oh, sorry. Wednesday, May 1st.
May 1st. Yes.
Friday, May 3rd is your final after show. Thursday,
Right.
the 2nd is the final watch along. Yes.
Right. Right.
Which is very exciting. Yeah, Sherry, I'm with you. I'm also dreading the end of Bad Batch because I don't think it's going to end well for most of the clones. We do know who will be alive outside of the Bad Batch because we know that we just hung out with Captain Rex, and some others, but they've already killed Tech. Is Hunter gonna make it? Is Wrecker gonna make it? Is Crosshair gonna make it? I
I don't
love my
think so.
Crosshair,
I don't
but I
think
don't think
so.
that he's getting a happily ever after, or any of them are.
Yeah. I think Crosshair's gonna sacrifice himself to save Omega. I
Yep.
mean, because he's had the stronger attachment to her in this season. Initially, it was Hunter, or who knows? They might both die rescuing her.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're gonna make it pretty tragic, but Omega will live on. So, and I
Mhm.
think that's gonna be their legacy, right? The Bad Batch lives on with her. She'll get like a tattoo of all their things or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
It'll be something cheesy like that, but we'll all cry. And then we'll cover it to death because the network believe me, we are in Bad Batch coverage zone. We've got the watch alongs every Thursday, the after show on Friday. That week is also May the 4th week. So it's just a ton of things going on. We might be doing something on the 4th, but we haven't really announced anything yet. So more to come on that front.
Well, I know
Um,
Jeff and
yeah.
I and Jonathan, we're gonna be at Disneyland.
Mhm.
So we
Not on the 4th. I will not be there.
Oh, you won't?
You guys got the one key that's not blocked that day.
I see. So we'll
And
be there.
my poor sorry ass doesn't get to go. So we'll be there for Star Wars night on April 25th though, and that
That's
will be
right.
awesome.
Well, we'll also be there on the 5th, right, Jeff? For
Oh yeah,
season
this
Force.
coming up for the beginning of the season, the Force,
Yeah,
this Friday.
to
That's
get
gonna be
our
fun.
our Jabba bucket.
And check out Ahsoka and
Yes.
Mando and Andor all up in the Star Tours lineup. Hopefully they mix
Right.
it up
Three
really
new
well.
the three new endings, right?
So that'll be fun. And
My
then whatever
sister's.
else is going on. Oh, the overlay, Hyperspace Mountain. If you've never ridden
Mm,
Hyperspace Mountain, that is one of the best overlays, and it's a simple overlay. It
It
just
is.
makes Hyperspace or Space Mountain that much cooler.
You've got the Star Wars music. You're flying through space with all the stars, and they're battling. And I think it is the best overlay because as you're going through Space Mountain, the X-wings are flying next to you. TIE fighters are going next to you, attacking you. It's like everything's in motion. It's the best.
It's a very cool overlay.
And
I've
the
done.
music.
I've seen the YouTube, like someone videoed it, and even on a crappy YouTube phone video, it looks amazing. So,
You know what? It
um,
does being in it, you feel like you're actually in one of the X-wings. It's fantastic.
yeah,
Well,
that's
it's a
cool.
nice combination of like projected stuff, and you already kind of get a star field in there, and
Right.
then there's like actual prop pieces that you sort of encounter on your way through, which just makes it that
Mhm.
much cooler.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish I were able to go to some of these, but for everyone in the chat, in the comments, make sure you keep up with Dave and Mike on their adventures at the parks, and everyone else on the channel. I'm sure we'll have some coverage. And if you're attending, if you're going to anything, make sure you put pictures in the Facebook group and share with everyone so we can live vicariously through you. I know when I go to the Empire State Building in a couple weeks, I'll make sure I put up some pictures so everyone can see the displays and everything. Not that it's not already all over social media, but that'll be a lot of fun. And what else do we have going on? Let me look at the schedule for this
I know.
week.
I wish I could go to
Um,
the Empire State Building. That's so awesome.
it's going to be really fun. Um, but it's nothing compared to being at the parks. I'm sad that I'm going to miss that because I'm very excited about Season of the Force. All right, here's
Oh,
our schedule for this week. So today was obviously Rebels Revisited, and we'll be back next Monday with another watch along for Season 4, Episode 8, Crawler Commandos. But before then, make sure you tune into Happy Hour tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Sorry, 7 p.m. Eastern, right?
4 p.m.
4
Pacific,
p.m.
right?
Pacific.
4:30,
4:30.
yeah, 4
Yeah.
o'clock until 4:30 is usually when I'm there before I have to go home. That's what
Yep.
made me think 4:30. But yeah, 4 and or 7.
Yes. And then Wednesday, we have a new episode of Daughters of the Galaxy. They're going to be covering Aunt Beru, Beru, White Sun Lars. And we are the Beru crew over here. So the ladies are very excited to talk extensively about the Obi-Wan Kenobi iteration of Aunt Beru more than anything
Oh, that
else.
was
So
badass, Baru.
yeah, the best.
Yes,
That's where the
yes.
Beru crew thing came from.
She
So
was the
remember when it was
best.
going around on the internet where it was like, 5 years ago, if someone asked who would win in a fight, Darth Vader or Aunt Beru, it would just be, oh, go Darth Vader. And now it's like, well, how much prep time does Aunt Beru get? Like, that was
Right.
really, that's how much the conversation shifted. I was like, that's great. It's, we all love and we love Bonnie. I have a personal just like love and appreciation for Bonnie after helping to bring down the Nexium cult. Incredible. Like
Right.
you guys have got to watch the Nexium documentary from HBO. It was unreal.
She's a real life rebel.
Yeah, exactly. She like
Hmm.
saved many many lives. And then this Thursday, the VCN watch along Bad Batch season 3 episodes 10 and 11, which will also be covered on the after show. So um, Mike, tell us you're there with John and Bryce.
Right.
What do you guys get into specifically in the after show each week? Like, how do you guys go about covering the episode? Because it's not just a recap; you're doing like a thorough analysis.
What it is, we do a recap. It goes in sequential order with the episode, but then we bring up any. Well, I'm big on connections, so the three of us are very different, and we each plan independently. But
Hmm.
then we don't talk to each other until we do the show, and so
Mm,
even though it's recorded, we don't know what anyone else is bringing to it. And so of course, when I can tell how I prepare. So I've got I take notes. So I've got my
mhm.
Google Doc. So I'm very much like
That's
you,
me
Mark.
over. That's every
Yeah,
time I'm
that's
like this. Yeah.
me too. I've got my Google Docs and I've got it filled. So they're pretty much off the cuff, but they've got incredible memories. So I don't know how I can't remember everything. It's just like
Hmm.
in one ear out the other. But if I've got my notes, I can follow along. And what I like doing is finding all the connections because as I'm watching, I notice all the connections to other like the books, the comics, the EU, and I bring in all those connections to and the video games. And I say, oh, this is from here, things that I recognize, or even now I've been paying attention to the music because there's a lot of musical cues like in the not last week's but the week before at the very end when Fennec Shand was talking, we thought she was ratting them out. You heard that musical cue that was Asajj's musical, the little
Mm, I
yes,
didn't
we're
pick
like,
up
wait a
on
minute.
that.
Yeah, we talked about it, and last when I talked about it the week before, we said, you know what, I think it's going to be, and I predicted it might be Asajj because I
Hmm.
was hoping she would be there in the first episode when they got to that monk's planet, because that was where Asajj first showed up in the film debut of the Clone Wars. So it was that same planet that Jabba had taken over. So the Hutts had taken over it, and they took over that monastery, and that's where they went to go rescue Little Stinky. And so
Oh.
I thought when they were on that monastery again, of course, obviously the Hutts didn't have it anymore, but I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to bring her back in because that's how she first came. Yeah, Little Stinky. So that's when we first saw Asajj in the film debut.
Hmm.
So perfect to bring her in there. That's what I was hoping for, but it didn't happen. That was that connection that I had.
Yeah.
But then
Oh, there
the
he is.
Yeah, I got my buttons confused.
you've got to
That's me with
show
the
up at some
overlay. I'm
point.
secretly working out in the behind the scenes. Um, I gotta say, yeah, I'm like you, Mike, where I need my notes and I need to have my
Yeah.
references. And I like to be prepared for stuff. And Ashley and I do the same thing where we try not to, like, if we're doing a listicle, we
Mhm.
don't talk beforehand because we want it to feel organic, which is why at times
Right.
we'll be legitimately surprised at what the other person is saying, not because we
Mhm.
didn't prepare, but because we intentionally decided that, like, in this topic, we want to. We want to make it organic. Like,
Yeah.
we're not doing scripted stuff for the chat,
Right.
and we're trying to engage with what people are saying in the chat as well. Which is how that's sort of the thesis of our show is like, this is all inclusive and a little bit off the cuff in that we want to talk organically about stuff, but we're going to come prepared with our research and our references and things like that. So that's why the Google Doc is 1,000 pages long. It doesn't mean
Right.
we ever cover everything in there or stay on topic.
Right.
You should see like the Google Doc. I had anything I'd be like, don't forget X-Men 97, which I almost forgot. X-Men 97 is so good, you guys. I highly
It is.
recommend. Two very small pieces before I forget. There's some Star Wars crossover that I wanted to mention. So Jennifer Hale is the voice of Jean Grey, and she's a voice from the Clone Wars. She did Isla Sakura and a few other voices throughout Star Wars. But Jennifer Hale's an amazing voice actor. She's excellent as Jean Grey. And in the latest episode, episode 3, we're only 3 episodes in, and already X-Men's like my favorite show. She's incredible, and it is a Jean-centric episode. I won't give anything away other
Oh,
than the
it's so good.
title, which it's so good, right? Like
Yes.
the title is publicly available and it is called Fire Made Flesh, which is a reference to a couple different things. Go watch it, you'll love it. Um, Also, AJ Lacasio, who is the new voice of Gambit, is a Star Wars actor as well. He did the voice of Han Solo in Forces of Destiny, and he is terrific. And he was just at a convention this past weekend wearing the sleeveless rock and roll T-shirt that Gambit is wearing. The crop top version of, in that, like, already when they're like, what did they do to Gambit? I was like, that's what men look like back then, especially people like Gambit.
Yes.
And he's like everyone's like bisexual awakening. Men and women across the board love Gambit. So but AJ wore the T-shirt and it like blew up. So I've got to get that T-shirt in a sleeveless, not a crop top. But if anyone sees one,
Get
shoot
the
it in my
crop top.
direction.
Get the crop top.
Absolutely not. This I look great in a sleeveless, not in a crop top. But the sleeveless is very cool. And X-Men '97 is just, I think, dominating the pop culture. And I got to tell you, it's
It's
exactly what I
fantastic.
predicted was going to happen on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Now, the first videos coming out from Screen Crush and New Rockstars and everyone else. It's not Bad Batch. It's X-Men. Bad Batch comes out a day later because X-Men took priority.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what happens. My one
Right,
concern. I
right.
don't like it when these shows are on at the same time, but it's okay. All right. That takes us. Oh, almost forgot. And then we have a Jedi Archives this week. What are you guys covering, Mike?
So this week's Jedi Archives, it's phase 3 of the High Republic. I've got my High Republic shirt, and it's the third chapter, and it's called The Taking of the Ataraxia. So the Ataraxia was Avar Chris's main ship, and it was taken over by the Nile. And they took it over. And so they don't know if Avar's still alive, if she's dead, is she, because there's a big storm wall that's blocking everything, and they don't know what's happening. But Keeve Trennis finds the Ataraxia, and they're able to take it back. So it's a really excellent issue of the phase 3. A lot of action, some great Jedi action, and it's a really good episode. So we recorded that one. It's going to be coming up this Sunday, so it's a good one.
Excellent.
But I love the High Republic, so really enjoying that series.
Well, it is the accidental Mike takeover week on the VCN with Rebels Revisited, the Bad Batch After Show, and Jedi Archives.
I
But once again,
know.
thank you for filling in tonight. Really appreciate it. I know Ashley is getting some much needed sleep, and Jeff was able to focus solely on producing, which is a chore in and of itself. And trying to host at the same time is a lot. So thank you so much for popping in last minute. Thank you everyone for joining us in the chat like you
Sure
do every
thing.
week.
Sure
And we are
thing.
dead serious, by the way, about wanting everyone in the chat to pop on air and watch an episode with us. It would be super fun. You don't need to do anything really, except have a webcam. We'll send you the link to StreamYard, and
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. You know what, Sarah?
yeah,
I want to see you next. So you be a guest host. It's fun because I miss being in the chat because
it's
I
a good
wasn't able
time.
to interact with everybody. Usually in the chat I can talk to everybody, but being on here you can't really interact that much. But yeah,
Yeah, it's
join
hard.
the
Yeah.
and there can be 3 of yeah, there can be
Oh
3
yeah,
of
we
you in
do
the
three.
so you can have you and Ashley.
We've done well more than 3, so if
Yeah.
we want to, we will accommodate
Mhm.
a group if anybody's interested.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
I've
a
been
lot of
on
fun.
the
It's a lot of
Thursday night
fun.
watch along where it was 4 hosts and 2 guests, and I was like, "There's no real
Yes.
estate left in this graphic."
And then when we do like the beginning of the year, end of the year wrap up, whatever that was, there
Those
was
are
like 10 of
wild.
us in there or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it literally looks like the tic-tac-toe board from what is it
It's
now?
yeah,
Yeah,
like Hollywood Squares. It's
Hollywood Squares. Yeah,
very Brady Bunch kind of
Hollywood Squares.
just
vibe.
exactly. Yeah, good times. We might actually do something like that for May the 4th. I'm trying to figure that out. Pre-record, obviously. Because it's impossible to get everyone
There's
together
a
and go
lot going
live.
on that week though.
I know, it's too much. I was like, can we have fewer shows? But no, things are going great over here in the network. We're having a great time doing all this. And this is super fun. We are in the final 4-ish months of Rebels Revisited with everything going on, and coming up on the end of season 4. Still some surprises to be announced for sure, and then we'll tilt over to Clone Wars. And as Jeff said, having multiple hosts, we'll have 3 hosts on our show. It'll be me and Ashley and Skip. So it's going to be a really, really fun time. So more coming on Clone Wars as we get closer to
Yes, yes.
after summer, after the summer vacation for sure. Um, but all right, that's everything with us. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you throughout this week on the network, and then next Monday for another episode of Rebels Revisited. You guys have a great night, and may the Force be with you.
Bye everybody.